There is some disturbing shit on TV nowadays without having to throw death into the mix. Like the mainstream media trying to spoon feed us their absolute lies and bullshit. If you're still watching the news, I don't know why you are. Because it's all lies. Did you know that there has been deaths caught on live TV that has just been broadcasted to absolutely everyone that was watching that particular channel at that point in time? In today's video, I'm going to be listing 5 people who died on live TV. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you don't know what's going on here, I am a horror artist and I like to draw what I talk about in the videos. Now, I like scary facts, I like true crime, I like anything to do with the paranormal, aliens, conspiracies, and I like to draw. So what I do is I combine all of that into these videos to hopefully bring you a unique experience on all these topics. And if you want to support me in any way, shape or form, I do have a Redbubble store where you can buy the prints to the art that you see in my videos. Or if you are a creative person, I have an Etsy store where you can download digital patterns and you can make your own felt toy pattern from one of the patterns that I have created. Now, I have horror movie characters over there. I've got my own designs. There's other stuff on there. Just go across and check it out if you want to. Now, with that being said, let's get on with the video and let's get on with the drawing. Tommy Cooper was a Welsh comedian and magician born on the 19th of March 1921. He was known for his red fez, was a huge man height-wise, standing at 6'4" or 193 centimeters tall, and his magic tricks he performed were pretend failures. He would, however, throw in the occasional trick that worked. From 1948, he began starring in his own shows and was popular for 40-odd years, working on London weekend TV from 1968 to 1972, and then Thames Television from 1963 to 1980. In the 70s, he was the most recognisable comedian in the world, but he also became an alcoholic and was late to shows or just breezed through shows in 5 minutes. He suffered from circulation issues in his legs, bronchitis, and chronic indigestion. This did, however, stop him from drinking so much when he realised it was impacting him and his performances, but he never fully stopped drinking entirely, and he also would smoke 40 cigars a day. On the 15th of April 1984, Tommy was performing on London Weekend TV's variety show Live from Her Majesty at the Her Majesty's Theatre in Westminster in London. Tommy was midway through his performance of pulling random things out of his cape when he thanked his assistant and then just collapsed and slumped over. Everyone started laughing in the audience as they were thinking that it was part of the performance. Tommy had suffered a heart attack and was dying on the floor while laughter just rained in. Once Tommy's son confirmed to the producer David Bell that this was not part of the act, the orchestra was cued and people tried to pull Tommy through the stage curtain. They tried to revive Tommy on stage while other acts performed to hide the fuss of trying to bring Tommy back to life, but he was pronounced dead by the time ambulances were called to take him to hospital. He was 62 years old when he died. Robert Bud Dwyer was born on the 21st of November 1939 and was an American Republican politician in the Pennsylvania State Senate. In 1986, he was the Pennsylvania State Treasurer and allegedly was convicted of bribery that was going to land him in jail for 55 years, but he was so adamant that he was innocent. It all came about when the Pennsylvania officials discovered that some of the state's workers were overpaid millions of dollars in federal insurance contribution taxes due to an error or errors in the state withholdings. Several high-profile accountants wanted the multi-million-dollar contract to sort the train wreck out and compensate people affected. It was awarded to California-based firm Computer Technology Associates, and after months of digging around, they found the alleged bribe that took place during the bidding process of the contract under Bud Dwyer as one person that would receive kickbacks for the deal. Federal prosecutors were going to cut a deal with Bud to plead guilty to the bribery charges, make him resign as treasurer, assist with the investigation, and get a reduced sentence of 5 years in prison. Bud turned this down, pleading that he was innocent and then this would all be proven in the trial. But on the 18th of December 1986, Byrd was found guilty of 11 counts of conspiracy, mail fraud, perjury, and interstate racketeering. He faced the full 55 years in jail and a fine of $300,000. He was sentenced to start this on the 23rd of January 1987, but on the 22nd of January, Byrd met two staffers at his home to discuss his options and called for a press conference the next morning in Harrisburg. He said his speech in front of the reporters and TV cameras, and then he removed an envelope from the podium that he was standing in front of that held a .357 Magnum revolver. The crowd went into panic mode as Byrd said, "Please leave the room if this will affect you." People tried to intervene and disarm Byrd, but Byrd immediately grabbed the gun, held it to his mouth and pulled the trigger, killing him instantly. He was 47 years old. Several news stations would go on to freeze the footage to show their viewers right up until he pulled the trigger, but a Philadelphia station, WPVI, ran the full video without warning their viewers. At the time, 22-year-old frontman of the metal band Filter, Richard Patrick, watched the whole thing live and went on to write a song about what he saw called "Hey Man, Nice Shot." And by the way, I absolutely love Filter and I loved that song and I still love that song, and now I know the origins. Inejiro Asanuma was born on the 27th of December 1898 and was a Japanese politician and leader of the Japan Socialist Party. He was a very polarizing figure as he was an advocate for war in Asia and tried to force socialism in a post-war Japan after Japan's defeat in World War II. While leading the Japan Socialist Party, he really portrayed and represented the average man by living modestly in public housing and stood for the working class, but Inejiro controversially supported the Chinese Communist Party, even though he was once opposed to it and was an ultra-nationalist, pro-military far-right supporter, and criticized the United States, saying that they were an enemy of China and Japan. This was all due to his questioning of the military in Japan, as he thought they weren't good enough, hence now re-evaluating his values and making a switch from the far right to the far left. This got a lot of people offside that were ultra-nationalists of Japan, especially when he visited China in 1959 and returned home wearing the suit style of China's chairman Mao Zedong, which was a very bold move. On the 12th of October 1960, Inejiro was holding a rally at Hibiye Hall in front of 1,000 people and was being live-fed to TV. About 100 members of extreme right-wing Great Japan Patriotic Society attended the hall. One of these members was 17-year-old Atoya Yamaguchi. He was so enraged by Inejiro's views that he ran up on stage where Inejiro was, took his samurai sword out and stabbed Inejiro straight through his left ribs, fatally wounding him in front of the nation. He was 67 years old. While Inejiro was lying on stage dying, Atoya was taken away by police in his school uniform with a smile from ear to ear. Atoya really wanted to leave an impact on the political world by taking Inejiro out. Atoya was taken to a juvenile detention centre, but 3 weeks later he was found hanging in his cell by his bedsheets from a light fixture. The Japan Socialist Party tried to get sympathy votes after the incident, but it didn't work. The Liberal Democratic Party won the majority of seats, and journalist Yasumi Nagao, who took that photo of that fateful incident, went on to win the 1960 World Press Photo of the Year award in 1961. Christine Chubbuck was born on the 24th of August 1944 and was an American TV news reporter that worked for stations WTOG and WXLT-TV in Sarasota, Florida. Christine would do her community affairs talk segment, Suncoast Digest, which would run at 9 a.m. This featured local people, local businesses, and local activities. She took her job very seriously, and she would also have homemade puppets she would bring with her to entertain children with disabilities while she volunteered at the Saratoga Memorial Hospital. But Christine was hiding her mental health issues, and they were pretty serious, as she struggled with depression and unaliving tendencies. Her family knew, and she confided in them about it. In 1970, she attempted to unalive herself by taking drugs and was seeing a psychiatrist for her battles. WXLT didn't know about her demons for fear that she would lose her job over it. She had trouble with her social life and was an apparent virgin that had only dated 2 men in her life. More fuel to her depression was when she had a crush on her co-worker, George Peter Ryan, but found out that he was dating sports reporter Andrea Kirby. In 1973, Christine had one of her ovaries removed and was told that she would find it hard to get pregnant, if at all. So this was another blow to Christine's mental health. On the 15th of July 1974, Christine told co-workers that she needed to read the newscast to open for Suncoast Digest, which is something she had never done before, so this confused everyone. She covered 3 stories, a shooting from the previous day, and then went on to say that she was going to present a TV first of Blood and Guts News, an exclusive unaliving attempt. Christine then drew a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson model revolver, put it up to her head, and shot it behind her right ear. She fell forward violently, and the cameras quickly faded the broadcast to black as quickly as they could. Some members of the public saw the broadcast and called the station to see if it was staged. Christine was taken to hospital, but she was dead at the age of 29. Christine was the first person in history to unalive herself on live TV. A co-worker found on the blood-soaked desk where Christine sat a full-length account of her own death written in longhand by Christine herself, and the footage was supposed to be destroyed at the request of the family, but a copy was found at news station owner Robert Nelson's house by his widow going through his stuff after he had died, and it is now locked away so no one can get to it. Alison Parker was a 24-year-old reporter that worked for WDBJ7, which is a local news station in Roanoke, Virginia, and Adam Wood was her 27-year-old cameraman. On the 26th of August 2015, both had arrived at Monitor for an interview with Vicky Gardner, who was the executive director of a local chamber of commerce. They were there to cover the 50th anniversary of the nearby Smith Mountain Lake. During the interview, about 6:45 a.m., a gunman dressed in all black approached them and fired around 15 shots at Alison, Vicky, and Adam. The live camera feed captured the chaos unfolding, and people watching witnessed it on TV. While the screams of the victims rang out on the live broadcast, the gunman fled, and Alison and Adam died at the scene before ambulances arrived. Vicky was still alive, and she was taken to hospital, and luckily she survived after emergency surgery. Alison died from gunshots to her head and chest, and Adam died from gunshots to his torso and head. The station quickly cut back to the newsroom, but the journalists were shocked in what had just happened. Their colleagues looked over the footage and they were able to get a glimpse of the gunman, and they were all shocked at who it was. It was a 41-year-old man named Vesta Lee Flanagan, who once worked at WDBJ7 until he was fired. People that worked with Vesta made complaints that they felt really uncomfortable around him and threatened by his demeanour. He apparently had threatened staff and had really bizarre behaviour, and wasn't the first time that he was fired for this by other stations. One issue with firing Vesta was that he needed the police to escort him from the building, as he just wouldn't leave. Vesta had planned the shooting and how everything was going to go down. Vesta targeted Alison and Adam because they wouldn't work with him, and Adam had made a complaint to HR after just working with him once, as that was enough. Vesta felt that he was being discriminated against, so he wanted revenge. Vesta had actually recorded the incident himself and later uploaded the murders to his Facebook page. This spread immediately across the platform, which led to the police doing a manhunt. Vesta went on the run, crashed his car while police were in pursuit, and then he shot himself and died. Unfortunately, the footage has not been able to be taken down on social media platforms and can still be viewed today, as the families of the victims just can't seem to get it taken down, even with a filed complaint against YouTube and Facebook. So what do you think about these stories? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and let me know if you have seen any of these stories happen, and let me know if you actually were watching the stories at the time that these incidences happened. So let me know if you're like that old. It is very hard to actually try and see these particular stories and these particular incidences as well, because because of their nature, they are very hard to get a hold of. But you can, if you go digging enough, if you're that brave and you want to actually see it. Because I did the research on this, I did some digging and watched as many as I could. The illustration that I decided to do for the video today is this combination piece of this thing that's obviously, once again, not human, because I tend to not like doing that type of stuff, and it's actually sewn together at the shoulder, and one side is like an evil clown and the other side is just an innocent person, and basically it's portraying like this this tug of war within a person's self to do the things that they've done, especially with a couple of these stories when they unalive themselves. So yeah, I wanted to sort of portray that with the clown side holding up the gun and shooting both of them through their heads, and come at the other side, and the so-called woman in type creature on the one side is filming it all, as this was the nature of this of the topic today, was these particular incidences being taped and recorded and then broadcast live for people to see. So yeah, just a podium, just some tentacles coming up, just once again, like I always say, I trust the process, and this is what the process led me to draw when I sit down and I think about what I'm going to do for these stories today. So that's basically it. But anyway, that is it from me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video today, and if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Dislike it, I couldn't give two shits what you do, because any interaction that you give me goes towards the algorithm for other people to find me, and hopefully you watch whatever is left of this video, and hopefully I see you in the next one. Bye.